Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's video I'd like to show you how using the higher time frame charts help in your everyday trading using the MTPredictor software program. A good example was on the USE minis yesterday. So let's start with the YM because that's a great example. Standard traders use our STF color here because the STF is an easy indicator to use. Blue for uptrend, black for flat, red for down really easily. So here, this first trade was against a blue uptrend, therefore you wouldn't have taken it as a sell. This DP sell at the high of the day you'd also avoided, but you'd have had three trade setups here because they were on a black STF, therefore you could have taken them. The first two would have been minus 1R losses. The third one here would have come down to the first target for a plus 4.5R profit. Remember, we use correct position sizing, which vary the number of lots, contracts or shares to keep our initial risk small under control, and more importantly keep the profits large. So even though there were two losing trades and only one profit here, the two losers were only minus 1R and minus 1R, in other words minus 2R in total, but the profit was much larger at plus 4.5R. So overall this would have made money even though you had more losing trades than profits, which was absolutely great. But wouldn't it be nice to catch this DP sell at the high of the day? So how can we do this? Well, if we go out to the higher time frame charts, we place our DPs on the charts, and the reason we do this is because our DPs are what we call leading indicators. Whoops, so I'll just take that one off. There we go. Now these are leading indicators, in other words they're on the charts in advance. So yesterday, before the market even opened, you'd have probably had a DP off this prior swing here, and the market went up into the open there, came through and then carried on up. So as it broke this DP level, you'd have gone back to the prior important pivot, which is back here. You'd have then placed this on the chart, and this would have caught the very high of the day. Remember, this would have been on the chart before the market even got there. But the point being is, as soon as the market reacted to this level and started to come down, or because you were at the higher time frame resistance here, you would have deemed that the trend was then starting to turn down. So on the ES at 12.45, the trend was coming down because of your higher time frame resistance. On the NQ, there's the one I put on there earlier with my own analysis. That came off this prior swing pivot here, and as you can see, that caught the high of the day there as well. On the YM, there's the last swing down to the low, so that was the last pivot, so therefore the DP off there was on the chart as well, and as you can see that caught the high on the YM very nicely as well. So there you go. These DP levels were able to nail the high on the YM, the high on the NQ, and more importantly the high on the ES. These came in at around 12.45. You can see my cursor on the chart there. So what could you have done on the shorter time frames? Well, on the ES, there's your high at 12.45. This was also the end of a 5-wave sequence as well. So that would have shown you that that would have been an important high or a larger degree resistance high. Therefore, the trend would have moved turned down. So therefore, this TS4 sell, even though it's with our blue STF, would be against our higher time frame downtrend. You should have wanted to avoid it. Therefore, this TS4 sell would have been a good one to take because it's now in the direction of the larger degree trend. You may have wanted to run this into the close as the market was looking to go down. But do you see that? Is that the higher time frame charts allow you to anticipate in advance of areas where the markets are going to make reversals. But more importantly, they allow you to confirm these reversals quicker than the use of our STF indicator. In fact, the use of any indicator. So that allows you to anticipate that the trend is now down, and therefore that helps you avoid this trade that didn't work out, but then more importantly catch this one that did make a nice profit. Let's go back to that YM trade. Remember, the highs on our 15-minute charts were around 12.45. And there you go, 12.48 on the 3-minute chart was just where this DP sell was coming in. So knowing that all three markets, the ES, the NQ and the YM, were all coming in at higher time frame resistance, would have given the more experienced MTPredictor users the opportunity to take this DP sell, which as you can see would have actually caught the very high of the day. As it was now coming off larger degree resistance on the 15-minute chart, the more aggressive MTPredictor users may have said, well, I don't want to come out at the first target, I want to run it a bit further, perhaps using our ATR stop, and therefore that could have potentially come down to that level for a nice 5.7R profit. So that could have been a very nice trade off the very high of the day. But if you hadn't been quite that aggressive, can you see how, knowing that at 12.45 the ES and the NQ and the YM had all put in higher time frame resistance, and therefore the large degree trend had turned down, it gave you extra confidence to take the sell setups that unfolded a bit later in the day. In particular, these sell setups here on the ES. There weren't any sell setups on the NQ there, but also that particular sell setup on the, sorry, there weren't any sell setups on the NQ, that's what I mean. But it did give you the opportunity to take that particular sell setup there on the ES, which as you can see would have resulted in a nice trade. So hopefully this has been a good example of how the higher time frame DPs and patterns on your 15-minute charts are really helpful, and that's why we teach the more experienced customers or the more experienced MTPredictor customers to use these. In fact, this is what we like our MTPredictor customers to do, is when they first start with MTPredictor, we suggest using our STF because it's really easy and simple to use. Then once you become more experienced and attend our training webinars, we then teach you to use the DPs on the higher time frame, and as you can see, they would have really helped and given you a very good trading day on the USE minis yesterday.